Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
This podcast is brought to you by Native Grape Odyssey. Native Grape Odyssey is an educational project financed by the European Union to promote European wine in Canada, Japan, and Russia. Enjoy. It's from Europe.
Hello, this is the Italian Wine Podcast with me, Monty Waldin. My guest today is Martin Foradori Hofstätter from the Hofstätter Winery in Alto Adige in northern Italy. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Looking forward to hear you describe the history of your estate. You can go back as far back as you want.
My winery is located in the beautiful village Tramin in Italian Termeno, the hometown of the great variety Gewurtztraminer. I'm the fourth generation of this winery. The winery itself is approximately 110 years old, and we are also one of the biggest wineries in Alto Adige. But when I say big, it doesn't mean bottles that we do, but vineyard land that we own. So in the family we have 50 hectares of own vines on 7 different estates, and then we buy also grapes from farmers from the village and the surrounding villages.
So what are your main markets, if we work back from now, your main markets for these grapes, shall we say, for these wines?
Approximately 80% of the wines remain in Italy. So we have a very strong sales force from the north up down to the south. And yeah, we are very happy about this because it's the market in front of our cellar door, so we can we have everything under control. But of course we also sell outside of Italy. The main markets are the United States, Japan, historically Russia. UK is waking up for us, fortunately, again, and yeah, we look forward to a great UK market in future again.
We just look forward to a UK, I think, which got in the background of Brexit. Okay, let's go into the Trentino-Alto Adige terroir, and particularly where you are. Obviously, it's northern Italy, but it's very dry, isn't it?
Whoa, to talk about terroir in Alto Adige, in my region, this is very difficult. It's difficult because, to use my words, we are a 4-dimensional wine growing area. So the first dimension is east and west facing vineyards, huge difference. Then the second one is the different altitudes. What we have, we start to grow grapes at approximately 200 meters over the sea level, and we go up 1,000 meters over the sea level. Then, to talk about the soils, they are different from one side to the valley to the other side of the valley, but even on the same side of the valley, we have big changes. And the fourth dimension, to make everything much more complicated, is even on the same side of the valley, depending where the slope is facing, we have a different microclimate.
So when we talk about the valley, we're talking about the valley of the River Adige, is that right?
Exactly. This is the southern part of Alto Adige, close to the border to the Trentino, south of the main city, Bolzano.
So Bolzano is the main city in that valley?
Exactly. Not only in the valley, it's the main city of the whole Alto Adige region.
Okay, so it's called Bolzano in Italian, and then it's called Bozen in...
Exactly.
In
German.
German Italian or Austrian Italian.
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of trends, we do associate Alto Adige often with varietal wines. What are the popular varietal wines, or the most popular varietal wines for the Hofstätter Winery?
First of all, there is to say that in the last 50 years there was a major change from red varieties to white varieties. So from 80% red and 20% white 50 years ago, now it's 60% white and 40% red. To come to my winery, my leading white variety, how could it be different than Gewurtztraminer? And it's a great pleasure for us to grow Gewurtztraminer in the village Tramin. And the other major variety, the red variety, is Pinot Noir. In my family and in my estate, we have a 160-year-old tradition with Pinot Noir, because the first owner of the Bartenau estate, which is part of my property, or part of my vineyard, he introduced 160 years ago the Pinot variety there.
So it has a long history. So it's not like you just walked up to Burgundy and brought a few vines and stuck them in the ground. It's a long long tradition in your area to grow Pinot Noir.
Yeah, the tradition goes back to the brother of the Kaiser Franz Josef, which was the emperor, the Austrian emperor. Alto Adige was a part of Austria before World War I. And this gentleman was very close to agriculture in general. He lived in the city Merano, which is north of Bolzano. And thanks to him, thanks to him, we grow the French varieties in Alto Adige. And because Ludwig Bart von Bartenau, this was the first owner of the Bartenau estate, he was a chemistry professor at the University of Vienna. Probably he had good connection to the royal house, and probably somebody of the royal house introduced him into this fabulous variety Pinot Noir.
So you would class that as it's obviously not a native variety, but it's a variety that's traditional, that we can say is traditional now to your region.
Absolutely, because compared to the rest of Italy, we have a long tradition with Pinot Noir, as we have a long tradition with Merlot, with Cabernet, with Chardonnay too. But especially the Pinot Noir, thanks to the fresher climate that we have up in the north in Alto Adige, the results that we get with Pinot Noir are excellent.
So are we talking for red wine or also for sparkling wine?
No, mostly red. In Alto Adige, compared to our neighbors Trentino, we don't have that tradition with sparkling wine. So most of the Pinot that is grown in Alto Adige is for red wine production.
Okay, and what's a good food match for an Alto Adige Pinot Noir?
Locally? Depending which Pinot. My winery, we produce 4 different selections. It starts from the easygoing Pinot, the lighter version who was in stainless steel, who goes well with white meat, with salumi in general, with easy antipasti. And then higher we go with the selection, let me say, mostly with red meat. I love it with red meat, but also with game.
And what about Gewurtztraminer? Good food matches for that?
It starts to get a little bit more difficult because Gewürztraminer is a very strong, a very heavy white variety with a lot of flavor and aroma. I prefer to drink it when I'm at home as an aperitif, but especially, for example, when I'm in Asia, I love the match with Thai cuisine. Gewürztraminer and Thai cuisine is one of the best matches.
So like it's a spicy food?
Exactly, but not too spicy.
Yeah, just a little bit of it.
Exactly.
Okay, and so that's those 2 varietals. What is another varietal that's particularly strong in, you feel?
Pinot Bianco is definitely a variety who is back on track. I say that because starting with the 70s, with the 80s, the Chardonnay wave started, then the Pinot Grigio wave started, and we forgot a little bit about our lovely grape variety Pinot Bianco. This was like to be in front of a wall made out of stones, and there was this little flower somewhere, and nobody recognized this little flower. But now Pinot Bianco is definitely, as I said, back on track, and a variety which the consumers love.
Pinot Bianco, is that a little bit spicy in your region or not?
No, absolutely not. This is the little, I think I can say this is the little brother of the Chardonnay and the little brother of the Pinot Grigio. Is the more mineral, is the more fragile variety.
It's more transparent, isn't it?
It is very fragile, and but the deepness, the minerality of the Pinot Bianco is unique. A Chardonnay and the Pinot Grigio, they are more like big opera singers, but the Pinot Bianco is a little bit the shy brother.
Okay, and a food match for Pinot Bianco?
Pinot Bianco as aperitif, of course, and I will match it with seafood.
Should we move on? What's the next one we can move on to? Next great variety?
It must be the Lagrein. Lagrein is our indigenous hero. Let me use this word. A variety who has his origin in Alto Adige. It's a very deep red colored wine with a lot of tannin. A wine who matches great with dark red meat, with game. Beautiful. We do in Alto Adige 3 stylistic of Lagrein. The first one are the rosés. Then the second one are the entry-level easygoing Lagrein, and then to finish the big selection which we age in oak barrel, which are the aging wines.
So would the entry-level one Lagrein also be like an aperitivo wine or not?
No, it's a little bit all-rounder. For antipasti, for primi, for pasta, also for, let me say, uneasy schnitzel, and a classic Lagrein is a perfect match.
Next.
Schiava. Schiava is another indigenous grape variety. Schiava was the leading variety in Alto Adige. Many decades ago, 80% of the surface in Alto Adige, vineyard surface in Alto Adige, was covered by the variety Schiava, which is an easygoing wine. Many consumers say that it is a rosé, but for us it's a red wine. Unfortunately, the Schiava in the last 30 years went out of fashion because the consumers, they were looking for darker red-colored wines with more tannin, and Schiava is definitely the opposite. But I love Schiava. I think you need to have a certain age to appreciate Schiava, because when you are 40 plus and over, sometimes you prefer to drink one and more glass of wine than just nip on one glass of wine, and the Schiava is the perfect wine where you really can have fun with few glasses of wine.
Is it, in terms of potential alcohol level, is it a little bit lower than other reds? So like if you grew a Merlot, for example?
Absolutely. The Schiava is around 12.5, maximum of 13 of alcohol. And in the past it was even lower, but I think the best alcohol content for a Schiava is 12.5.
Is it easy to grow?
Yes and no. The Schiava grows at best at an altitude of 250 up to a maximum of 400 meters over the sea level, but it needs a lot of sun and it needs a lot of heat to ripe completely out. I don't want to say that it's complicated, but it is not easy too.
So it just needs the right site though, doesn't it?
Yeah, we grow the Schiava mostly on the western part of the valley, which is the warmer part. It's the morning sun and the hot evening sun.
Yeah.
In the afternoon sun we grow the Pinots.
Okay.
Because the afternoon sun is I know it sounds a little bit strange, but the afternoon sun and the evening sun is the cooler sun.
That's interesting. You're quite obviously right. It's great to hear you say that, because that's a little subtlety that I'm sure many listeners will find very interesting in terms of, site. I mean, the region you're in is very mountainous, hilly, and you started right off at the beginning of the interview talking about the sites on either side of the valley. Let's dig into that a little bit deeper. If I'm coming to your region and I say I really want to buy some vines in your region, what advice would you give me?
Invest the money somewhere else, because the land prices in Alto Adige are incredibly high.
I'm a millionaire.
I'm not kidding. It's very difficult to find land in Alto Adige. Not only for locals or for somebody who comes out of Alto Adige, and even if you are a millionaire, it's very difficult to find.
Why is it so
land
expensive?
It's expensive because we are in a mountain area. The quantity of land is that what it is.
But not very much then.
Not very much. So the 5,400 hectares of vineyards that we have, that's almost it.
But you have a strong local demand though, don't you? Does that make things slightly easier in the sense that...
Not at all. There is not a big turnover of vineyard land. Maybe especially the old farmers, when nobody from the family wants to go on with that business, maybe they sell. But those are very small pieces of land. You have to know that the average property of a farmer in vineyard land in Alto Adige is 8,000 square meters, less than a hectare.
Yes, 0.8 of a hectare.
0.8, yeah.
Because of the extreme terrain.
Exactly.
So obviously when you were a boy, I imagine you worked in the vineyards. What was your favourite job?
My favourite job.
Because you're a strong lad. You're a big lad. Okay, so strong chap. So I'm sure they gave you the hard jobs.
There is no favorite job in your vineyard. You have to do what is to do. But I had a lot of fun to take off the green shoots from the stalk. So this was, when I was a kid, my job.
So water shoots, so the non-fruit bearing shoots that were just shading and getting in the way. Yeah, it's cool. They le feminelle.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So it's also slightly backbreaking, isn't it? Because you've really got to get down low-ish to make sure you pluck the right bit off. Because if you put the wrong bit off, you get sunburn, won't you?
This too, but this is more when, let me say, on the higher level of the vine. This is when you, and especially in June, when you clean up the shoots, when you take off the leaves. This is this is the delicate work. Because also in June, the shoots that remain on the vine are the one that you select for the next winter pruning. So the work in June is very important.
Yeah, you can't make a mistake because you'll affect 2 years' harvest, won't you?
Exactly.
And anything else we haven't talked about? You'd like to talk about?
I think we should focus or remind a little bit more the microclimatic situation in Alto Adige, because if somebody comes to visit Alto Adige and he is on the west side of the valley, and when I explain him that the eastern part of the valley is the cooler part, he makes big eyes, meaning, you want to fool me? It's very close. How could there be that much difference? In terms of numbers, the eastern part compared to the western part in a year has thousand hours of sun less. This explains a lot.
That's a huge quantity of no sun.
Exactly, yeah. So, and this is the reason, because on the eastern part we grow Pinot, and on the western part, the warmer part, we grow Gewurtztraminer.
How about tourism in the region?
Oh, a lot.
Too much?
Could be more, but especially in my part of Alto Adige, there is a lot of German, Austrian, and Swiss tourism who starts in April until end of October. So there is not a lot of going on in the wintertime. So actually, there is nothing going on in the wintertime, because the tourists are moving in the Dolomites where they can ski. But from April to October, the villages are quite packed, and we are very happy about this. There is also to say, thanks to the tourism, 50% of the Alto Adige production is consumed in Alto Adige.
Does that help in the sense? I imagine where you are, it's very labour intensive. There, as you said earlier on, so you actually have to pay people to do jobs that are very time consuming. Does that cash flow help you fund that sort of hand-grown aspect of wine growing where you are?
We try to mechanize as much as possible. The problem is less the people that you have to pay, but the main problem is from year to year much more difficult to get people who want to work in the vineyard. More you mechanize, better it is. And for the moment, most of the hand work is done by people who come from Poland, for example, from Romania, and from Czechoslovakia, for example.
But they're happy. I mean, I suppose they're happy to have the work.
Absolutely, and we have now for years the same group of people who work in the vineyard, and this is positive for the vine and for the quality of the wine too, because those people, they know their job and they know exactly what they have to do.
Are they welcomed when they come? And we have, I don't want to go on about politics at all, but Europe at the moment is in quite a funny place, shall we say. In my country, the nation, Great Britain, voted for Brexit.
They are
the ease of movement of shall we say non-EU workers could be compromised, and obviously
no, fortunately those are European Community workers, so all the paperwork is easy. Is quite easy. It's the same. Let me say it's the same paperwork as if you hire Italian people, and of course they are welcome, and we're very happy that they come to work to Alto Adige.
Who is the next generation in your family to take over the family estate?
Probably my son is studying enology. It looks like that my little daughter is interested too. I think that both together they will be a good team, a good fifth generation of the winery.
And their names?
It's Niklas and Emma.
Great. I want to say thanks to my guest today, Martin Foradori Hofstätter from the J. Hofstätter Winery in Alto Adige, particularly for explaining those key differences in the way of looking at Alto Adige, west side or east side. For you, that's absolutely fundamental.
You're welcome, and come to visit me in the winery, and everybody's welcome, of course.
Thank you very much. It's been great to meet you.
Thank you.
This podcast has been brought to you by Native Grape Odyssey, discovering the true essence of high-quality wine from Europe. Find out more on nativegrapeodyssey.eu. Enjoy. It's from Europe.
Follow Italian Wine Podcast on Facebook and Instagram.